going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. We got a lot to talk about today, and of course, everything circles around this man, this logo, this legacy right here. We're talking about Kobe Bryant, and I want to start off today with talking about the latest release of a sneaker and the controversy surrounding the release of that sneaker, the release of its successor, the re-release for that matter, and where we are right now with Vanessa Bryant. So without further ado, let's get into it. We got a couple things to talk about. This right here is a pair of the Kobe 6 Grinches. Now, this came from actually the draw that just re-released this pair not that long ago. If you guys remember, we actually talked about the Grinches in a couple of videos ago. I was lucky enough to be able to get a pair, and I was super lucky enough to actually hit another time on another personal size. So this right here is the double up. But while this drop was going down, Vanessa Bryant apparently was in negotiations behind closed doors with Nike in an effort to extend Nike's contract, but on a few different terms than what Nike had been doing when it came to the release of Kobe's products. Kobe's contract expired with Nike on April the 13th, 2021, and not soon after, Vanessa Bryant took to social media to explain the reason why she chose not to extend the deal with Nike. Now, according to a lot of different sources, one major reason why Vanessa chose not to extend the contract with Nike was because of a frustration that she had with the lack of availability. Nike kept limiting Kobe's products, and Vanessa didn't like that. If you guys remember Vanessa's Instagram post not that long ago, she mentioned that she wanted to do a wider release for the Kobe 6 Grinches and to do something special for the people of Los Angeles when COVID actually calmed down. But Nike apparently chose not to do that at the time, she said, because of COVID. Now, obviously, a lot of things have been lifted and restricted, and we never saw that big, grand, whatever they were planning to release the Kobe 6 Grinches. If you want my personal opinion, I think that Nike was just blowing a lot of hot air to Vanessa and the family in an effort to try to just kind of get them to quiet down a little bit. But I don't think that they really ever intended to do whatever this huge, massive drop of Kobe 6 Grinches was supposed to be. Why? Because Nike has actually been working on doing the opposite of that when it comes to their product lately. And I want to drill down into that a little bit. First, let me say this. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. That's number one. Number two, I want to say that I understand that people like you guys that are diehard fans of Kobe Bryant don't understand why a company like Nike that has a successful athlete like Kobe Bryant, that has Kobe shoes being worn on literally 20% of the entire NBA on a regular basis, why in the world they would not just release more product. That's been the thing I've been seeing a lot of people say lately. Nike, if there was a problem with money, if there was a problem with revenue, all of Kobe's products always sell out in seconds. So they should just release a ton more product, release 2 million pairs of Grinches, and everybody's gonna buy the Grinches, right? That's wrong. And unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but history has proven that Kobe's line is not really that successful. And when I say that successful, I just mean as successful when compared to all of the different arms of Nike. I need you guys to understand that Nike Inc. is a business at the end of the day. They're not a bunch of fans of Kobe that are willing to dedicate all of their money and all of their manufacturing and all of their supply chain and all of their time to pumping out as much Kobe Bryant product as humanly possible. Time goes on, and unfortunately, even though it is a deep hurt for a lot of people that were friends, family, and fans of Kobe, Nike Inc. didn't shut down. Nike Inc., the company, looked at Kobe Bryant as another line item on a sheet that was a sub-brand within the Nike basketball portfolio. And the Nike basketball portfolio really has kind of been lacking lately when it comes to sales. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys, and you guys can flame me up down in the comments all that you want. How many of you guys were really buying Kobe product and sneakers before he tragically passed away? Like, how many of us were really going hard about buying Kobe's products? My personal answer to that would be nowhere near as many people that are interested in buying Kobe's products now. But even with that, history has proven in Nike that people aren't that interested, especially in the United States. Now, over in China, where Kobe was super popular, maybe that was a little bit different. But here in the United States, which was a lot of Nike's bread and butter, at the end of the day, the Nike basketball line just was floundering a little bit. So while the demand for Kobe's product is huge over here, it's in Nike's best interest as a brand and a company and a corporation with shareholders, many of which, honestly, just to be honest with you, really could care less about Kobe, but they care a lot more about their money than they care about Kobe. It's in Nike's best interest to keep demand levels high when it comes to certain product. Hence why we saw the Grinches get a limited release. And obviously we all knew that there were more pairs of the Grinches somewhere, and maybe Nike didn't even sell every last pair of the Grinches that they had, even with the re-release draw that they did. However, now it's unfortunate because it looks like a lot of Nike product and sneakers are gonna get put on hold, or production is gonna be completely completely halted as a result of the negotiations falling apart and the contract ending. And we've seen what's been going on in the marketplaces lately ever since Nike announced that they were no longer in business with Kobe Bryant and with his wife and his family. Obviously, prices have skyrocketed. Now, why did the prices skyrocket on sneakers like the Grinches after that announcement came out? And this is why I love platforms like StockX, because they truly do move like the stock market. Every piece of news that comes out moves the needle in some kind of a way on the value of certain sneakers. And so I already knew once that news break, I actually went on Twitter and told people, buy Kobe's now, buy them before they go up in price because they're about to skyrocket in price. The resellers saw this as an opportunity to raise the price on sneakers because the demand was going to be up. Now, this same thing happened, unfortunately, when Kobe passed away, because if you guys remember, I had the Kobe 6 Protro Gamer Edition, the NBA 2K Special Edition that dropped. And remember, I told you guys back then that that sneaker was actually sitting on the sneakers app, like literally was sitting in multiple sizes. And I got a size. We actually took a look at it on the channel. But as soon as Kobe passed away, every last one of those sneakers sold out completely and the price skyrocketed. Now, why did that happen? Did people all of a sudden become huge fans of Kobe and want to honor his legacy? Of course not. People wanted to capitalize off of the fact that something controversial had happened. But I don't want you guys to just take my opinion for what's going on at Nike and why Nike honestly is not all that brokenhearted about losing their relationship. I actually got the Nike 10K financial report filed for year ending 2020, fiscal year 2020. And I want to take a look at a few of the line items that talks about Nike brand wholesale equivalent revenues in each of the line items and how much money those line items were bringing in. Running at Nike was bringing in over $3.8 billion for fiscal year ending 2020. Sportswear was $12.2 billion. Training at Nike was $2.6 billion. Football or soccer at Nike, $1.5 billion. Jordan brand by itself brought in $3.6 billion in fiscal year 2020, and Nike basketball brought in $1.5 billion for fiscal year ending 2020. Now, you guys got to think about that. Nike basketball brought in the lowest amount of money out of any other of the categories at Nike for fiscal year ending 2020. And that's all of Nike basketball. Kobe included, KD included, Kyrie included, LeBron included. All of Nike basketball was still the lowest earning line item on the 10K financial sheet for Nike in 2020. That is why Nike is okay with losing this business. Now, if Michael Jordan decided that he was leaving Nike, that would be a different story. People weren't buying Kobe's like that before Kobe passed away. And even now on StockX, you guys can still go on there and see that there's a ton of Kobe sneakers that are not going for a ton of money right now. Why? Because historically, Kobe sneakers have been great for function over fashion. A lot of Kobe sneakers didn't look all that great. Of course, you had the Kobe 6s. Of course, the Protros look fantastic. Of course, you have certain models that I personally felt were the more popular Kobe models, like kind of the lower numbers. But as the numbers increase, you don't really see people wearing them often out here. Now, I'm not saying that nobody wears a sneaker, so please don't get me wrong. I don't want you guys in the comments just saying, I wear Kobe sneakers, so you can't say nobody wore them. Yes, of course, people was wearing the sneakers, but at $1.5 billion for Nike basketball, it's no surprise that Nike basketball, along with the basketball lines at a lot of other brands, have been floundering lately. That's why Jerry Lorenzo was brought on at Adidas to revitalize the Adidas basketball brand, because the product sucks. But this is where the story gets even more interesting. As we all know, Kobe wasn't really that happy at Nike anyway, so there were plans apparently already being made that Kobe was going to branch off and he was going to make his own brand that was going to be called Mamba. Now, to double down on that, at the same time that it came out that Vanessa Bryant actually decided to cancel the contract over at Nike, she also filed for the following trademarks: Play Gigi's Way, the number 2 with a heart around it for Gianna's number, Mamba and Mambacita, Baby Mambas, the Mamba logo encircled by a snake, Mambacita, Lady Mambas, Mamba League, Mamba, Lil Mambas, Kobe Bryant's signature with a 24 by it, the word Kobe Bryant, and a black and gold alternative Mamba logo in honor of his Hall of Fame induction. She filed trademarks on all of those different things so that they could start releasing product themselves probably through a new line to continue Kobe's wishes and honor his legacy. So personally, what I think happened is that at the negotiation table, Vanessa sat down and said, listen, I'm filing trademarks to do my own thing with Kobe's line Mamba. Now you guys have a choice. We can open up the floodgates and release as much Kobe Bryant product as humanly possible. Start making the million pairs of the Grinches because obviously people want them. Vanessa even said herself, Kobe's Bryant sell out in seconds. So she probably brought that same thing to the negotiating table to say, hey, listen, you guys see the demand on Kobe's products, release more of it. Nike clapped back and said no, because demand creation is a thing at Nike and something that we actually include in our budget items, in our line item sheets. It's hundreds of millions of dollars that they have for demand creation. That's a real budget at Nike. And in order to create demand and to keep demand high, what do you have to do? Limit your product. It's simple supply and demand 101, guys. The more of these that release, the lower the demand is going to be for the shoe. Now, Vanessa doesn't care about that, but Nike does. And that's where the two split. Now, what's going to end up happening here, which is going to be very interesting, is that the new Mamba brand is going to be launched. And I'm very interested to see how successful that brand is. Not to say that it won't be successful, but will it be as successful as Kobe's brand was to Nike? And the reason why I say that is because that will be contingent not just on Kobe's legacy, but also on the design of the product. Kobe's Nike sneakers looked really, really good. And unfortunately, unless the Mamba sneakers look just as good as the Nike sneakers did, which we'll see, I don't think that they're going to see the same type of success that they thought that they were going to see. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people are still Kobe fans, but as sneakerheads, we still have very interesting and specific taste when it comes to the shoes that we put on our feet. You think about the Union 4s, right? Some people didn't like that shoe because the tongue was stitched down instead of stitched up, and some people liked it up but didn't like it when the tongue was down. There's little variations on different Jordans that people are like, if that color was a little bit different, I'd wear it. The Jordan 1 Bread Mid, I remember everybody saying that they loved the sneaker, except the fact that there was a little bit of red right here. And because there was a little bit of red right here and this wasn't black, people didn't want to wear it anymore. So if we're willing to nitpick over shoes down at that level, I don't think that people are just going to wear any Kobe product that is out there. Because you guys remember, even after Kobe passed away, there were certain Mamba shoes and Kobe Mamba Fury, I think, and shoes like that. They just sat on the shelves. They continue to sit on the shelves. So I say all that to say this. If you're a true Kobe fan, that's fantastic. And I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you that you're not a Kobe fan for not wearing a certain shoe or for wearing a certain shoe or for owning Kobe's or for not owning Kobe's. We're all Michael Jordan fans, but we certainly don't own every single Jordan in existence. But what I will say is that I understand where Vanessa Bryant is coming from. And I definitely understand her wanting to start her own thing because that is what I truly believe what Kobe wanted to do anyway. And I think that she's honoring his wishes by doing this because, again, I think Kobe just wanted everybody to have access to his stuff at the end of the day. So well wishes to Vanessa on her journey with the Mamba brand. Obviously, if I can get my hands on whatever comes out, we're going to take a look at it. And I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion because we respect Kobe and his legacy. But at the end of the day, we're still going to talk about the design, the quality, the materials, the technology, and all those other things that make sneakers sneakers. Now, on the Nike side of things, hey, I get it. And if you're a shrewd business person, like I've been seeing a lot of people talk about, this is about business. You got to look at it from a business perspective. If you truly look at it from a business perspective, Nike doesn't care. Nike has a lot of other things and a lot more profitable things that are going on over there at Nike Inc. to really care that much about what's going on with Kobe. So the right formula from Nike Inc.'s perspective is to put out a really flowery PR statement wishing Vanessa and her family the very best while saying that Kobe was a deeply rooted part of the Nike family and they will continue to love him while continuing to move on with the Jordan brands and all of the other Nike basketball athletes and all of the other money-making, revenue-generating streams that they have over at Nike Inc. Life goes on. And that is the name of the game when it comes to Nike. That is the message for today. Life goes on, guys. And unfortunately, for a company like Nike Inc., life goes on. So we're always going to honor Kobe. We're always going to respect Kobe. We're going to respect Kobe sneakers and appreciate the legacy. And we're going to appreciate the amazing, incredible things that that man did both in his career and in his personal life. But we're also going to understand the fact that at the end of the day, business is business. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that I got to say about these. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down below. Let me know what you guys think about Vanessa Bryant leaving Nike and this possibly being the last Nike Kobe release that we'll ever get. Hey guys, Kari here. I got a late edit, so I wanted to throw this in here while you guys are watching this video. So Vanessa Bryant actually just came out on Instagram wearing a pair of the new Kobe 6 Protro Del Soles. And she actually mentioned that there's 2 more Nike Kobe drops that are in the works. And then probably after that second drop, then they're probably going to be done. So the Grinches, it looks like, are not going to be the last Nike drop. It looks like we're getting the Del Sols and one more sneaker, but we're not quite sure what that sneaker is. Maybe it's a general release of the Grinches. Who knows? All right, back to the video. Are you guys able to hit on the draw to get potentially the last Nike Kobe release? Or were you unfortunately having to take the L and now you're just watching the prices skyrocket? I'm sorry if you happen to be one of those people, because I know a lot of people really want to get their hands on these. But sound them down below. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, right down in the comments. Make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the Kobe 6 Protro Grinch, and until next time, I'm out.